On to Mandalorian, episode
Yes.
3.
And
Oh boy.
I'm going to say the opening dogfight was fucking amazing. I have missed having a good, like, hefty Star Wars dogfight. Like, so well done.
It's really interesting to me because everyone likes to act like Star Wars is sci-fi, but it's not. It is the films of the 70s that it was like came just after, but just set in space. It is your westerns, your samurai films, your war films. They and don't get me wrong, they do them beautifully, but they have the exact same motifs. Hence the brilliant dogfighting. This idea of the bounty hunters being these gunslingers. You've got these ancient, very peaceful Jedi, and like they're the exact same motifs. There's nothing special inherently about these ideas, but the way that Star Wars manages to fuse them so effortlessly into this big universe makes it so special. So to get the dogfight back was just so good.
I mean, just before the dogfight, we had like there was the really cute moment of Grogu trying to say, "This is the way."
Yeah, absolutely.
Which
No one can convince
everyone's
me.
gone nuts. Everyone's gone nuts on the internet that was the case, and
Well,
I loved that.
Before that as well, we had the scene still in by the living waters.
Oh yeah, we did.
Where Bo was trying to very gently work out if Mando had seen the mythosaur.
And I was right in the sense that he didn't get pulled down; he just fell.
Yeah, I don't understand how though.
So
I either there is an issue with the physics here, or I'm missing something.
I think we're forgetting that, like, they don't really sell it constantly, but Beskar is just solid. Like, it's metal armor, like it's heavy.
She's wearing Beskar as well.
No, I don't know if hers is pure Beskar. You've got to remember there's pure Beskar and there's like Mando armor that's like infused with Beskar.
Okay.
So pure Beskar is what Mando has, and it was like because it's like a cult, like it's a sign of wealth and a big thing in the cults, because obviously that's why like he's collecting it and he makes pieces at a time. It wasn't. There was a period in, like, if I'm remembering correctly, like it was a big resource, but obviously it became a wealth thing in Mandalore, so it became like an infused alloy metal. So I mean, also it kind of makes sense in this, like if he's expecting it to be like a fairly shallow thing and you're just walking forward and suddenly there's nothing there, you're gonna like fall. And I don't know, the kind of blacking out. It's a weird. Maybe something pulled him. Maybe he fell. Like, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I guess because of the way he like so aggressively went under. I don't know about anyone else. I've never seen someone aggressively fall underwater like that without like diving in.
Yeah, but if you think, like, if someone misses a step on it as they're going in a pool, they suddenly like jolt down.
Yeah, but you got to think they're still like half above the water, like quite.
Well, he was still a fair bit above.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it was definitely hard to tell, but it's one of those things that's hard to sell, I guess.
Yeah, I just think because of how deep it was, and like the fact that he was like nestled on the bottom, and she's like chasing him basically instantly with her rocket booster helping her. I'm just kind of like, surely he can't have just fallen. Surely there's got to be more to it. Because if he weighs that much, how's he even cutting about? Like,
it's Pedro Pascal, mate. He's yoked.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
But I thought it was interesting that Bo then mentioned, like, oh, it's like was a cavern that is I think it's later on at the end of the episode she mentioned this, but the bombing must have broken open the cavern.
No, she said it out there. She was like, I didn't realize they were that deep, and she was like, they never used to be.
I'm wondering if that was the case, then it's like maybe the mythosaur was not, obviously wasn't always there. It was sleeping somewhere or dormant, and it's got like freed into this pool of water.
Okay. So before we get on to the bulk of the episode,
yes,
I want to discuss the fact that Grogu is the next Mandalore.
Okay.
So there was a picture posted somewhere of the Beskar Mythosaur skull on the armorer's wall.
Yeah.
And the angle the picture's taken, it creates a shadow that literally is Grogu's head.
Interesting.
And the picture gave me big, you know, the famous Phantom Menace poster where you had young Anakin and then the shadow is Darth Vader.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
It had big, like that kind of energy.
That most likely has been done on purpose.
Yeah. Along with the fact that obviously Pal Vizsla? No.
Paz Vizsla.
No, the very first guy was it.
Oh, shit. I can't remember.
Dark Saber.
He's a Vizsla. I can't remember his
Creator.
Cal?
It's something Vizsla. Tar Vizsla.
Tar.
Yeah, so Tar Vizsla was obviously the only Jedi Mandalorian, created the Dark Saber, ruled Mandalore as the Mandalore, blah blah blah. Obviously, Din's now the owner of the Dark Saber. It's not like the Elder Ones; you don't have to win it in combat, and you have to claim it if you have beaten the person in combat, but it can be given over willingly. So, Din can give it over to Grogu. Grogu can go, I'm a Jedi and I'm a Mandalorian because my dad's a Mandalorian and he is the Mandalore. It is set up so perfectly.
I do think it is going that way.
And I don't care if it takes us 12 seasons to get there, just so we're clear. I'll watch 100 chapters.
Well, this has been a slight sidetrack, but like I know that pretty sure Dave has talked about this as the Mando's first trilogy.
Yeah.
So if they're doing it in trilogies and it's like first trilogies ending with potentially the rebuilding of Mandalore, like the re-establishment of Mandalore, it would make sense that the second trilogy maybe leads up to the new leader of Mandalore being like Grogu.
This was another thing I saw being discussed. It said somewhere in one of the Star Wars projects that Yoda became a Jedi Master at the age of 90.
Oh yeah, people have worked out.
So Grogu A should be talking by the end of this season, and there's
that's
lots of like
people
teasers in interviews that make it think that might be the case. But also that means, obviously, by the age of like 70, he's going to be like chatting. He's going to be learning. He's going to be like fully becoming the person he's going to be.
Yeah.
And we can do a little time jump to that and then see him getting ready to become the leader that Mandalorian is. Because that's the beauty with the Mandalorian being behind armor and Grogu being a puppet.
Yeah.
You can do some time jumps.
Yeah, you can.
To get us to the point where Grogu's maybe like getting closer to 100 and you get to see him fully ready to take over as the Mandalore from his father, Din.
Yeah, no, you could do. You could. But I mean, getting back to this episode, obviously we had that cute moment where Grogu almost speaks, and I do think the first words he is going to say is "This is the way," or "The way this is."
Yeah, it's got to be some kind of variation on that.
Then we got the dogfight was insane. The way that Mando fucking jetpacks down, the airdrops in where we dropping kids,
big time.
And seeing his spaceship in like the fights again, just like good old school Star Wars vibes, like having that, and like the cliff, like going through the cliffs and stuff. It was just so well shot.
Star Wars.
Yeah, like that whole sequence was so well shot, but then it was brutal for them to be like, oh shit, yeah, we won. And then Star Wars was like, psych, no one wins.
I gasped. I audibly went,
yeah, I was just like,
flames over the hill.
Oh, and then they bombed Bo-katan's home, which brutal for her. Like,
yeah,
this family like fought this
all
for
she
years.
has left in the world.
Yeah, all that she has left of her clan and kind of her memory of like Mandalore, like whatnot, it's like bombed. Uh,
Mhm.
and there's the line of well, I just about like a bounty hunter or whatever. Like it's a lot for the Empire to send after this just for one
Mhm.
annoyance, which is true. But then she goes chasing after the bombers, and it's like, oh shit, no, there's too many. Uh, so they jump, and then we
Yeah.
get into the bulk of the episode, which I've seen very mixed feelings online.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people bitching and moaning about it.
I've seen,
I liked it.
I liked it, and I liked it more so. There's, in a way, yes, it could have been written in better. I think they could have maybe um found a way of bringing that storyline in a little bit less kind of like sudden. But I
Agreed.
can see what they're doing, and it's what
Yeah.
we talked about a few episodes back in Bad Batch. Dave is doing he's doing it. He's attacking it from two time points.
Okay, so I've got a funny little anecdote for this. So
Okay.
last night I didn't have enough time to watch Mandalorian
Mhm.
because me and my girlfriend watched it together, and I was
Yep.
streaming last night. By the time I finished streaming, it's far too late, and she wouldn't have made it through. So we decided to watch it today when she got in.
Mm.
Um, so as we're about halfway through, our dinner's ready. As we stand up to go get our dinner, he goes, "The Kaminoans," in his speech. So as I pause it, I'm like, holy shit, they're doing it quick. Let's go get our food. I need to see where this is going. But yeah,
It's
literally the second he said that, I was like, holy shit, Dave, you beautiful bastard.
as soon as the doctor was back and he's doing that speech about I'm like, he's
Yeah.
attacking it on all like it's wild that like before just as Bad Batch was kind of starting, we were talking about Mando, and I was like, oh, there's gonna come a point in the future, maybe it's like in Ahsoka somewhere, like Dave's gonna start dealing with now he's gonna start fixing the Disney trilogy and the issues with it. My guy was already on it, and he's
Yeah.
on it from two different timeline points. Like he's not leaving, like he's fixing it from the start and the middle, and he's gonna probably attack it from like right up to the end.
Yeah.
And
That is good. The whole Ahsoka series is going to be her chasing down scientists who are working on this weird thing
well,
that the Empire are desperate to get done.
it's gonna be more her searching for Thrawn,
Maybe that's what
but
he's in
there's
charge
gonna
of.
be things from that I think tie into it. I do agree.
100%.
But
That it's too convenient.
it's wild that one line in the Disney trilogy of Palpatine's back somehow
Mm.
is what's caused Dave to have to go, right, well, gonna have to fix this shit now, aren't I?
But
And
it's the same as in episode 3 though, isn't it? Where Grievous says to Anakin Skywalker, "You're not as tall as I thought you would be, or you're taller than I expected, or whatever it was." So then Dave Filoni
oh,
spent
you mean with with
tens,
Obi.
spent like 10 seasons making sure that two main characters never
Mhm.
meet, so
Yep.
that line still makes sense. It's like
The
Jesus
man will
Christ.
jump through hoops to fix things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we get this the Doctor from season 1
Yeah.
is back. He is being rehabilitated because
Yeah, I have you know what I'm like, Corey. I have some thoughts on the way the New Republic's being run.
yes. I'll say what I enjoyed. I enjoyed the fact that Dave's starting to dive into this fix, like building on this idea that cloning and this cloning technology didn't go away; it was just kind of hidden. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving that. I love that we were back on Coruscant. I can't get enough of Coruscant.
So
Live action
pretty.
Coruscant looks amazing. We got to see the place he was doing the speech was from the same place that Anakin goes to watch a thing
Mm-hmm.
with Padme, if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
from the original trilogy. Not the original trilogy, sorry, the prequels.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's cool to see
You're gonna
that.
get so much hate on the
I,
internet for that.
I, yeah,
Calling the prequels the original
you
trilogy.
know,
Rip.
it is what it is. Uh, So cool to see that. I love the little touch of like we got to find out a bit more about the planet. I didn't know
Yeah.
about that. Like the tip of the mountain is the only bit of the planet showing, and like that's there in Coruscant. Didn't know that.
I really liked that because it showed, because obviously we know below the level, the
Yeah, we
surface of
know
Coruscant, there is dozens of like
tears.
hundreds of
Yeah,
floors of people who are in poverty, and like Coruscant's always been like this. It's been a big kind of joke about capitalism in reality because it's kind of been like,
yeah,
oh yeah, on the surface everything looks perfect, everyone's happy. And we get to see that from the person after his speech going, oh, I almost got enlisted. And she's like, that was the Empire deal. It's the New Republic now. And he's like,
yes.
oh, I can never keep up because it shows that these super rich people,
Have
they
no
don't give a fuck.
concept.
They don't give a fuck who's in charge because it's not going to affect them.
Bit too real.
Yeah, no, hundred
No, no.
percent.
It's yeah, that whole little thing of oh, I can't keep up, and oh, I almost got enlisted and all this. It's like
Yeah,
problems of the rich people, and adding this
it
thing
is
about
like
like
first galaxy problems.
just that little detail about this is the tip of the mountain helps just like instantly like, oh, fully explains how you can have so many layers of a city down because we're fucking really high up in the altitude. Like
Mm,
it's little
100%.
things like that that Dave's just like, oh yeah, just tick that little thing off.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but I did enjoy this kind of side. It's a side story. Obviously, it's setting up bigger picture stuff. I know people online are like, "Oh, we're getting Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett treatment," where it's like suddenly we're on a side story. I don't think it's going to go that way. I think we're going to have two crossover stories because I think the Doctor's obviously going to be he's going to go looking for Grogu again. I think.
I mean, his mind's kind of being wiped.
Well, yeah, this is what we get on to is they're in a weird sort of amnesty housing, they're calling it.
So, so let's go through this. So they've got the Amnesty Project,
Yeah.
which is basically, oh, you worked for the Empire. We're going to send you off to these weird, very dodgy sounding camps. What do I call them?
Re-
Reintegration camps.
yeah.
So that you can be a productive member of the New Republic. Then, as part of that, they get put in these buildings. Now, there's a number of reasons that already go to show. So, it's really interesting because no matter what era we're in,
Mm,
we're always shown government bad.
yeah.
So, obviously, the original trilogy, the Empire was in charge, Empire bad. Ooh.
Yeah.
Then we get the prequel trilogy where we're watching the Republic, and like obviously the Clone Wars is the Republic, and the entire time you're kind of like, this government's a bit fucking scummy.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the exact same thing again.
Well, they've got to start. We're starting to see what we haven't really seen, which is the early transition of empires ended or been defeated, but somehow we get to the First Order.
Yeah.
And there's this weird kind of we are better people now. Like those things that the Empire did, we are leaving behind. So they're doing this whole reintegration because we know not everybody was a bad person in the Empire. You were enlisted, so we want to just screen you and be like, let's get rid of the psycho ones and make sure that yeah, let's get these people back in and working
Weed
for
out the
us.
true believers versus people who literally it was life or death.
Yeah. And
But they've done a number of things poorly.
well, it's this kind of front that we're better people now. This is a new way. And it's like you're being a bit overly like trying too hard to be the good guys now, it feels.
These people are still desperate A to be in positions of government or like
Mm.
working to be in part of the controlling party, which is just a bit weird. But also they've gone through this reintegration center so they can be functioning members of the New Republic.
Yeah.
Oh, they stripped their names from them and gave them letters and numbers.
Yes.
Come on. They're going to camps. They're coming out with. They don't have a name anymore. They're just a letter and a number. They're being given jobs well below their ability, i.e., just doing basic admin when he's a brilliant scientist.
It's
It's set up
basically
for failure.
well, and it's also this idea that like quite clearly they're not going to waste good workers, but they don't want them. They want to control them enough, so they're giving them the basic jobs. So we'll use them to fill all the basic roles, so we can have new people in these positions of power. So people feel like, oh, there's fresh people in there, but realistically, it's all the same people still working for the government. It's just we've moved the top ones down to the bottom and
Yeah.
moved the bottom ones up, so it feels like a rebalance, but it's not really. Um, but it's like we then get to meet the communications officer, which we also saw in season 1
Mm-hmm.
off Moff Gideon's ship. And there's this little exchange of, oh, we knew each other from Moff Gideon's ship, and the others there at the table are like, oh shit, you guys worked for Moff Gideon? Like, oh, you were
We
on
got a
this,
badass
yeah,
over
you
here.
were on the Psycho ship.
Yeah.
Like, you were on
How
the,
the fuck did they let you back here?
yeah, like, you guys, are you guys not extremists? Sort of thing.
I heard you wanted to
Honestly,
slice open a kid.
I didn't trust the girl.
Oh no, from the word get go.
No, there was something about her where she was like clearly up to some dodgy stuff. I thought it was going to be, she was doing shady stuff on the side, like in the slums area. Like, not, I wasn't really expecting her to sell the doctor out.
I think she's still evil though.
No. So this is my thing. I think she. So I thought the shady thing was, oh, she's just old way, like she's making money on the side doing like gangster stuff, but keeping up a front. I think actually she's a mole in the sense of she's still, there's someone that's still linked with Moff Gideon and all that, and it's like she's still kind of working for them, and
Yeah.
she's just in this place finding people. I think purposely finding other people that are getting reintegrated and seeing how much they know and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And like with the doctor's case, he was trying to do too much, so she nulled him out.
Yeah. It's
Um,
it's an interesting one because very quickly they've gone, now you feel sympathetic for people who were enemies not that long ago.
yes.
Um and it's very interesting. Because I just don't know how the New Republic thinks this is the right way to go about it.
Well, that's the thing though, isn't it? It's like they think that this is what has happened. This is what happened with the old Republic. They thought they were doing good, and slowly they were being manipulated and became the bad guys. I think they're trying to show a mirroring. It's like, oh, we've got out the Empire, we are the good guys now. But some of the things that the people in power are running, it's like actually you're being manipulated and you slowly are going to become the bad guys again. Um, I have to say though, on with the Doctor and he gets caught, and I love this. It was mirrored in this. It was like he put on a machine, like, oh, this is a, I don't know what they call, I can't remember what they called it. And he's like, it's a mind flare. And I'm like, no, this is something. And he's like, no, I know this is a mind flare. This is what the machine. Well, we don't call them that anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
it's the exact machine. You've just renamed it. And it's like when companies get caught out being bad or have a bad product and they just rebrand it. And it's like, this is the same thing. We know it's the same thing. You've just given it a new name.
Yeah,
And
no,
then
you're absolutely right.
we also got a fun thing though. That scene, I don't know if you picked up on it.
Oh, it's a trap.
It's a trap line. We got because the Doctor is also a Mon Calamari, I think
Yeah.
that race is called, and just like in the old the films, it's just like
Empire Strikes Back.
it was a trap, and I was like, oh my god, they no way they just
Yeah.
meted it and did the
Yeah.
line.
I once again I paused tonight to explain that joke to my girlfriend. She was like, "Oh, that's very funny."
Yeah, I was
"Yes,
like,
yes,
I'm
it is. I
so
enjoyed that
glad.
greatly.
I'm
There
so
is no
glad
way
they
that was an
messed that.
accident."
Oh, 100%. That was totally on purpose. But yeah, it was. I get people's annoyance of like, we jumped to this sudden different story that we've had no context to the build up of. Like, it just feels like it's out of nowhere. But I do think it's important because people are forgetting that the Mando stuff is going to build, it's building a bigger connected story in that gap, which is going to include Skeleton Crew, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka. Like these are all going to be tied together. And it's just Mando's the starting point for a lot of these characters to branch off. And I think people need to realize this is going to show this transition of Empire's over. People think they're good, but we've got to get to the First Order somehow.
Yeah.
And
And I think similarly, it's gonna be another one of these shows where the takeaway is just give Filoni and Favreau the keys to the kingdom.
yeah,
They haven't missed yet. I don't think they're going to start missing anytime soon. They clearly have ideas on how to fix the fan issues. Fans, for the most part, love their stuff. Bearing
yeah.
in mind how divisive the fan base is with anything Star Wars touches,
Hmm.
it's basically all positive. Let them run it. Trust them. Trust them.
Oh yeah, I think there needs to be a certain level of trust of like they're trying to build. They're doing setup for stuff, and it's like I get you want to watch Mando 24/7. Who doesn't want to watch Pedro blast his way
Pedro.
around space? Like no one's blaming you for wanting more of the Mando, but there's a bigger picture going on here, and it's like allow them to build stuff up because it's all going to tie together. It's not just stick the camera on Mando 24/7. That there's other stuff going on, and I mean we go back to them at the end of the episode. They land at the cult cave.
The Coven.
Yeah, and I just want to say Paz Vizsla, the big beefy guy, he looks salty. Like this is the thing, they all had helmets on. There's no facial expressions. It's all just like pure body language. But my God, was Paz Vizsla salty? Salty that Mando was back, and he's like, nah, yeah, we'll see what the armor has to say. Oh, he was telling the truth. He's bathed in the waters. Damn. Why does he get to bathe in the waters and I don't? He has the fancy sword that I want. This isn't fair. Ah, that's the vibe you get from Paz Vizsla.
Once again, going to show that superhero films do not need to destroy the character's mask in the third act
Mood.
if you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
What I will say, it really made me laugh that for most of that interaction, I was going, look how thick he is at Paz Vizsla. Because if you look at like Bo-Katan and Mando, their helmets look like they're too big for their head.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
His helmet looks too small for his head.
He's a chunky man, which makes it like big man salty. Like it's just you can feel it.
My head canon is it's actually Wrecker.
Oh my God, imagine he became Paz Vizsla. But I thought he was interesting, and I kind of saw it coming as like the armorer was like, and so you also bathed in the waters because you went and got him out of them. And she's like, well, technically yes, but I don't believe. Well, by the creed, you are redeemed.
Yeah, as long as you leave your helmet on, you're good to chill here for as long as you need.
So I think she's gonna go. I think Bo-Katan's gonna talk to the armorer about the mythosaur. Not directly be like, oh, I saw one, but be like, so the mythosaur, what do you know about them?
But let's also remember, let's not act like Bo-Katan isn't a bit of an extremist.
Well, yeah, no. I think she's gonna use her time there to get some more information about things. She's seeing that there's a collection of clans and Mandalorians, which she was trying to build. So then
and
she'll
she
be
knows
like,
in a Darksaber fight she can win against Jin.
yeah. I think also she'll be looking. She'll be like, they're managing to pull Mandalorians together. Is there an opportunity here for me to suck up to them, stick with the way of the cult, get the sword, and then I can rule everybody?
100%.
So there's definitely, I don't trust her, but I think.
Have you seen one of the popular fan theories circulating about the armorer?
What's that?
That she is the third sister. So you know what Star Wars is like with its imagery.
Yeah.
So you had, I forget her name, the leader of Mandalore during the Clone Wars series, who is obviously Bo-Katan's sister.
Yeah.
So you had her raised as the politician. You had Bo raised as the warrior.
Yeah.
which is 2 elements of Mandalorians, and then the third is the religion, and the
Mm,
armorer is a devout religious person. So everyone's like,
interesting.
what if she's the third child? I'm not necessarily sure I believe it, because I don't think there's ever been any evidence that there was a third sister at any point. But it'd be a very Filoni thing to pull off.
It would. I would be surprised if
I
that
feel
is
like
the
he would have
case.
teased something about it.
Yeah, and I feel like there would have been a bit more of a reaction from Bo.
But she might not know, because she was the
Mm,
youngest, wasn't she?
true. I
So,
feel
like, this other sister could have been long gone and
true.
off into a cult before she was even, like, aware.
I think it's gonna be. I do think there's gonna be a bit of she'll work with Jun, but she's gonna want it for herself.
100%. She's got that urge to lead in her blood. And don't get me wrong, I
Well,
think eventually she becomes just an ally with no like, oh, will she, won't she? But
yeah.
I do think at some point we get like 2 or 3 episodes of her being an antagonist.
I think she's lost everything now. Like her homegoing was the last thing. The only thing that kind of links her to her old life is that sword of when she briefly had it and was ruling Mandalore for a very brief time. But that's the only thing she can hold on to now is that time.
Ironically, she ruled Mandalore for about as long as we had one prime minister. So,
But yeah, I think overall, love the episode, love the dogfight and the stuff with the armor. I think that was great. And I actually enjoyed this, like the side stuff with the Doctor. I thought we're getting a bit. It's world building. I get people are like, it's
you
too
know what it
off.
was?
Go on.
As big proponents of Andor and Rogue One, it
Mm,
was right up our alley. A lot
yes,
of the people I saw who didn't like it were also the people who didn't like Andor and Rogue One.
yes. I saw that thing of like people like, how can you not like this? This was like we got an episode of Andor in Mando. Like what? So I agree.
Inject it.
I I'm all for showing us Mandalore like process of coming back and what's going on there, and also showing us the start of what is the transition between the Empire and the First Order.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's gonna be an
give,
interesting one for sure.
yeah, give me more. I'm all for it.